The opening round of the 2012 FIM Supermoto World Championship comes to the small town of Ottobiano in northwest of Italy. The last time we came here was back in 2009, and on that occasion it was Honda's Ivan Lazzarini who was victorious with a double moto victory over Thomas Scherer and Thierry van den Bosch. That was the penultimate round of the series, a series that was decided at the final round in Catalonia, Van den Bosch edging out Thomas Scherer by just 3 points for the championship. Well, last year's world champion Adrian Scherer will be looking for a good start on his Aprilia, but brother Thomas and Manu Hermanen will be looking for a victory this weekend. The final race of the day for the S2 European Championship riders. This is how they lined up with Vorlacek, Moschini, Monticelli, Holbacher, Barella. They were the top five, and that's how they finished from the second moto going to the line. This is the third race, and so far coming into this third race it's been Devon van der Meulen and Peter Vorlacek who have been the two winners in the two motos so far. So this third race really decided on what happens here, but 199, that's Devon van Meulen. He got the perfect start ahead of Chris Hodgson, number 18, and Peter Vorlacek on the 202 machine down in third place. And as you can see, we'd had a lot of bad weather throughout the course of the weekend. It absolutely dumped it down during the course of Saturday evening. But as they go through past the ground camera, it was still Devon van Meulen from Chris Hodgson and Vorlacek with Edgardo Barella down in fourth position. As the race wore on though, Devon van Meulen started to open out a bit of an advantage over these two guys here fighting over second position. Of course, Chris Hodgson, number 18, and Peter Vorlacek battling there for that second place. Eventually though, Vorlacek went through and pushed the young Brit down to third place. Eventually, number 202, Vorlacek was able to edge clear of Chris Hodgson, but he couldn't do anything about the lead of Devon van Meulen. Conditions on the track still very, very greasy. Of course, you add a load of dirt to that from the off-road section as per that shot there, and you get to see how tricky it was, despite the riders riding with full wet tyres at this stage of the afternoon. There's Chris Hodgson having a great ride, looking for a podium position in this third and final moto. Well, Devon van Meulen, a winner in the first moto, looking to follow it up with a victory in this third race on that Motor Racing KTM. Making it look easy despite the conditions at the midway point. And really unchallenged in this third moto. A little bit dark and gloomy out there as well. There's Vorlacek, he's second. Still in the race, having distanced himself from Chris Hodgson in third. So he could relax in the closing stages of the moto. One or two riders though found themselves on the floor. Livio Landolfi on the Honda crashed in the final stage of the race, and eventually the red flag came out, not because of him but because of another incident out on track. So the race brought to a premature end here in Ottobiano for the S2 European Championship guys. But these were the overall standings on the day then, and the 199 of Devon van Meulen, our overall winner, 188 I should say. 72 points for him. Vorlacek second, Edgardo Barella was third, and Chris Hodgson just missing out on the overall podium in fourth, just ahead of Sami Salsala, who had a great ride in the first race, incidentally. So the podium then, Edgardo Barella third overall, Peter Vorlacek second. Our winner though, Devon van Meulen from the Netherlands, his first European Championship race win. And he'll be looking forward to the second round in Palermo in Italy. And there's the red plate, he's the championship leader. And of course, Sabine Olario, the UEM delegate, handing him the red plate this weekend.
Yeah, I'm very happy. The first race for the European Championship, I won this first race. This was the first big race for me, and I'm very happy.
Ci troviamo a Ottobiano.
Here we are at Ottobiano for the first round of the 2012 FIM Supermoto World Championship. This year we are the official representatives for Honda, and we have 3 riders in the World Championship. Ivan Lazzarini has now been with us for 4 years, so there's already a good feeling between us. Last year he finished 3rd in the World Championship. Then we have Fabrizio Bartolini, also riding the 450, and finally we have a Russian rider. He goes by the name of Alexander Latashev, and for him it's his first year in S1.
E per il primo anno si cimenta in questa disciplina ad altissimi livelli.
But this year we hope to achieve our primary goal that's been missing until now in Supermoto, and that is the top step of the podium at the end of the championship.
Della classifica finale.
Here we are at the first race of the World Championship 2012. We are ready for fight, and this winter I did a lot of motocross training for my physical condition. I did also a race, and there was a lot of time that I didn't race in motocross, so it was very fun. And also we changed something on the bike, on the Supermoto bike. We did a new airbox to have more air and a little bit more speed on the top, because we know that we have to work for the horsepower, because the Aprilia and TM are very fast, so we need to improve our speed. I think we can fight for the victory in every race, so I'm ready to start.
This is my first season of the Supermoto, of the World Championship Series, and I think I may do my work as good. And when season's end, I think I see the finish flag too much.
It's the most important experience for me up to this point in my career. The aim is to get some good results and to satisfy my team. This is how the S1 riders line up for their first race of the day. Lazzarini fastest in qualification ahead of Thomas Scherer, Massimo Beltrami and Adrian Scherer rounding out the front row. Then it was Andrea Acchini, Manu Hermelen, Bartolini, and then after that it was Davide Gozzini. Winstanley was okay there in 9th, and then Thierry van den Bosch down in 10th place ahead of Monticelli. Vaglia not too bad there either in 12th, but as you can see, weather conditions appalling here in Italy. But making the most of that start was Thomas Scherer. Flew out of the blocks then, and at the end of the straight into turn 2 he'd got Ivan Lazzarini and Massimo Beltrami behind him, riding number 30 and 121 respectively. But coming out through the middle of the Sky Zone, Thomas Scherer and Ivan Lazzarini, they were your leading 2 riders. Adrian Scherer just behind them in 3rd, the defending world champion, number 5. Waterleng all over the circuit here, but trying to make a break for it at the head of the field, the number 4 of Thomas Scherer. Remember, he had that incident with his brother at the final round in Cahors that cost him the world championship. So far a good start to the weekend for him though, but he's got Ivan Lazzarini breathing all over the back of him. Into the Sky Zone. And the TM leading the HM Honda of Ivan Lazzarini. Midway through the race though, Ivan Lazzarini made this pass on the number 4 of Thomas Scherer. And he was the new leader. And he then tried to make a break for it at the head of the field. He led actually for the next 6 laps with Thomas Scherer breathing all down his neck throughout the rest of the moto. Adrian Scherer in 3rd position, and just behind him In the background, Andrea Occhini in 4th place. Christian Ravaglia had close company from the number 11, Make Voorwinden of the Netherlands. They were battling for 8th position. And just behind them, actually, Manu Hermanen, riding the 131 on the SHR TM this year. He was finding his way through the field and eventually got himself up into 2nd position. But outside assistance just before the race on the grid meant that he was disqualified and would not feature in the results. Instead, Thomas Scherer came round on the final lap on that number 4 TM. He had a comfortable advantage in the end over Ivan Lazzarini, and it was Thomas Scherer who took victory in Moto number 1. So a good start then for the Frenchman. And yeah, a quick pat on the front number plate as well. Good work done for him, the team, and of course the bike, the TM machine. Well, here's the result then from race 1. It was Thomas Scherer from Ivan Lazzarini. Massimo Beltrami was 3rd from Adrian Scherer, Andrea Occhini, Christian Ravaglia, Matt Winstanley, and Make Voorwinden down in 8th of the Netherlands. 9th was Thierry Van den Bosch, and Marcel Gotts of Switzerland on his Kawasaki finished down in 10th.
Alex Serafini,
Alex Serafini, I'm the team manager for TM Official Racing. This year we have 2 riders. Next to me is Thomas Scherer, and we also have Marco Dondi, who will run in S2. We're very satisfied with them, and of course we hope for a good season this year.
Je suis Thomas Scherer, j'ai 24 ans, ça fait la 3e année que je roule pour TM.
I'm Thomas Scherer, I'm 24 years old, and it's my 3rd year riding with TM. Well, this year I'm a little bit behind in my preparation due to the fracture of the shoulder during the last race at Cahors last year. I've only been riding the bike for a few weeks, and I'm still missing some strength in my shoulder as the recovery has taken longer than expected.
Donc c'est vrai que c'est un nouveau challenge en plus que.
Well, this year Manu Hermanen has a TM bike like mine, so it's a new challenge to beat my teammate, even though he's on a different team. I can't wait for this first race to see what will happen. I hope the weather changes, as I don't like so much the rain, but I will give 100% at the races this year, because my goal is to regain the title that I lost last year.
C'est de récupérer le titre que j'ai perdu l'année dernière.
Second S1 race of the afternoon. Still rain decided to fall on the circuit, and despite the full wets of the riders, it was also poor visibility if you were a little bit further back down the field. But just like in Moto number 1, Lazzarini got a good start and went marginally better this time around with the whole shot. Adrian Scherer and Massimo Beltrami were with him, but coming out through the sky zone, it was Beltrami who had already found a way into 2nd position past Thomas Scherer. Adrian Scherer had dropped to 4th. Well, the battle for 2nd position between Massimo Beltrami, Thomas Scherer and Manu Hermanen was down in 7th position with Christian Ravaglia and Thierry Van den Bosch there, the number 101 machine. Up front, Thomas Scherer, though, still had his hands full with Massimo Beltrami there in the background on the HM Honda. Even Lazzarini was having a steady ride there at the front of the field, had a nice comfortable advantage over Thomas Scherer in that second position. Beltrami was just behind him there in third position, the 1-2-1. But he was coming under pressure from number 5, defending champion Adrian Scherer. So Scherer looking to try and get on the podium in this second moto. That was a battle for 5th place between Andrea Occhini and Manu Herminen. Remember, Herminen coming from the back row of the grid after being disqualified in that first moto. So already up into the higher places as early as the 3rd or 4th lap. The battle for first place continued between Ivan Lazzarini and Thomas Scherer. Scherer as close as he had been, but he was also bringing with him Manu Herminen, so it was a three-way battle. Manu Herminen, the Flying Finn, clearly at home with these treacherous conditions. He'd moved into second position past Thomas Scherer on the number 4 machine there, so it was a Honda of Lazzarini, number 30, followed by the 2 TMs, the 131 of Manu Herminen and the number 4 there of Thomas Scherer. Adrian Scherer went out of 5th position. He would eventually pick himself up and remount, but he would drop down to 8th place come the checkered flag. Eventually, though, the battle for first was all over because Manu Herminen went by going through into turn 1, nudging aside Ivan Lazzarini. And that was only lap 7 of the race. Beltrami was in a battle for 5th place with Andrea Occhini, and Lazzarini got it all wrong with a couple of laps to go. And that allowed Thomas Scherer to close right up on the back of the Italian. And Lazzarini knew he would have his hands full. But for how long, though? Well, there's your answer. Thomas Scherer went scything through up the inside with just over a lap to go. Number 41, Mark Reiner Schmidt, went down. And just look at that, Giovanni Busai just ahead of him, number 200 on the SBD Union Bike Honda, about to be lapped in 24th position by the number 131, the Flying Finn, Manu Herminen. Well, the flag went out to Manu Herminen, and he was victorious in this second moto, coming from the back row of the grid. What a great ride for him. So the result then belonged to Manu Herminen, ahead of the factory TM rider of Thomas Scherer. Even Lazzarini was in 3rd position. Then it was Christian Ruvaglia, Massimo Beltrami, Matt Winstanley, Andrea Occhini and Adrian Scherer down in 8th. 9th was Marcel Goss. 10th was the Dutchman, Make Verwinden.
Enzo Pergetti, team manager del team e proprietario.
Hey everyone, I'm Enzo Pergetti. I'm team owner and team manager for Pergetti Supermoto Racing Team. This year we manage our team with Rigo Racing. Marco Rigo will take care of all the technical aspects while I will take care of everything else. Our rider this year is Ilias Samartin, and we think we're strong enough to do well with him.
Pensiamo di essere abbastanza posti per far bene.
We're coming off the 2011 World Championship where we finished 10th, so for 2012 I'd like to improve on that 10th position. We did a good job on the bike during the winter, so now we're just trying to refine the settings after improving the engine. I'll try to do my best for the whole season. Of course, thanks to everyone who's helping us this year.
Cercherò di dare il massimo per tutta la stagione. Ciao a tutti!
The third and final moto then here at Ottobiano, and once again it was Thomas Scherer, the fastest rider, away from the grid and through turn 1. By turn 2 though, Manu Herminen had already found a way up the inside, so too had Christian Ruvaglia, number 8, pushing Thomas Scherer back into 3rd position. Manu Herminen immediately tried to distance himself from the charging pack. But just behind, it was Ravaglia there, number 8 in second position. Matt Winstanley on the SHR TM was third. That man there, number 4. Thomas Charette still finding his way in the early stages of the final moto. He was down in fourth position, just ahead of Mike Verwinden of the Netherlands, down in 5th place, riding number 11. Well, Manu Herminen put a bit of a gap between himself and the battle for second position, Christian Ravaglia and Matt Winstanley. Winstanley almost finding a way through at the end of the start-finish straight. But he came under pressure for a considerable amount of time, actually, did the number 8, Ravaglia. And it was Winstanley who always applied that pressure, but he made a slight mistake here, did Winstanley. Ran wide, got bogged down, and that allowed Adrian Charette to go through and Verwinden. So Winstanley losing 2 positions. He pulled one of them straight back, though, immediately, and went back into 4th place. Instead, it was Verwinden who came under pressure then from Beltrami in that battle for 5th place. Well, Christian Ravaglia had a comfortable gap between himself and Thomas Charette. Winstanley had a similar gap, but it was still the battle between Beltrami and Verwinden that had everybody on their toes. Our race leader, though, Manu Herminen on the SHR TN, riding an absolutely faultless race here, just like he did in Moto 2. Conditions a little bit drier than they were then. A nice dry line appearing, but Ravaglia really in the thick of the action here, coming under pressure from Thomas Charette and Matt Winstanley. A 3-way battle for second position. Winstanley trying all he could to find a way past the former world champion Thomas Charette. Remember, Winstanley won a Moto and an overall Grand Prix last year, the Grand Prix of Portugal at Portimao, but not going to finish on the podium this weekend. But even Lazzarini, nothing else you can really say about him, apart from the fact that he's just done everything right, kept it up on 2 wheels, hasn't got involved in any unnecessary incidents with any of the riders, and clearly showing that, well, the weather conditions that they get back home occasionally are quite useful when it comes to riding here in Europe, especially when it rains. That's Rafael Fonseca down in 9th place, and look at that, just behind him, number 30, even Lazzarini down in 10th. So Lazzarini losing valuable points in this 3rd moto. A bit further down, the battle for 13th involved Cucurella and Peter Kmart, while Christian Ravaglia looked content there in 2nd position. Didn't look like he could be challenged for that 2nd position. Certainly the leader wasn't being challenged. He was already quite a few seconds ahead of that battle for 2nd position, and looking at picking up 25 points for a victory here in the 3rd and final moto. But Ravaglia, though, could he hold off that 2nd? A little bit further back, it was Max Verderosa and Marcel Gotts. Gotts going by for 13th. And just with a couple of laps to go, Ravaglia didn't get the drive coming over the tabletop jump, and Thomas Charette found a way through into 2nd position just with about 3/4 of a lap to go. But in the end, nobody a match for Manu Herminen as he took his 2nd race win of the afternoon, and in convincing style as well. Thomas Charette came over the line in 2nd, but that would be good enough for him to take the overall victory here in Italy at Ottobiano. Well, there are your 3 podium finishers from left to right: Thomas Charette, Christian Ravaglia and Ivan Lazzarini. Next time we see those guys will be on the podium. But before then, let's just take a quick look at how race 3 finished. It was a victory for Manu Herminen. Thomas Charette was 2nd, Christian Ravaglia was 3rd. Winstanley, a good ride for him in 4th ahead of Lazzarini. Good ride through the field for him. And then it was Mike Verwinden, Beltrami, Fonseca and Andrea Acchini. And this is your podium. For 3rd overall, it was Christian Ravaglia on the right-hand side. 2nd overall, Thomas Charette. Our winner, Ivan Lazzarini. 2nd overall, Ivan Lazzarini. Our winner, Thomas Charette, in the middle. Trophies being handed out left, right and centre, quite literally. But this is the thing that Thomas Charette wanted, the red plate. Dr. Wolfgang Ströb, the director of the FIM CMS. Thomas Charette is your new leader going to round 2.
Una vittoria incredibile per me.
Yeah, it was an incredible victory, especially when you consider the weather conditions. It was very tough, but anyway, thanks to everybody. Of course, I'm very happy. Thanks again. Ciao.
Ancora grazie. Ciao ciao.
So the overall classification looks like this then. Thomas Scherer, Lazzarini and Ravaglia, we saw those on the podium. Then it was Manu Herman and Massimo Beltrami, and Matt Winstanley starts his campaign in 6th position ahead of Occhini and Adrian Scherer. Manufacturer standings looks like this. TM streaking ahead at the moment with Honda 2nd, KTM, Aprilia, Suzuki, Kawasaki and Yamaha down there in 7th. But a great day for TM, good day for Thomas Scherer. Looking good for another title, but of course there's still a long way to go. Join us next time when we head to the circuit of Palermo in Sicily. We'll be there. We hope you can join us. My name's Paul Malin. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.